This is a Squiz podcast. We're your shortcut to being informed.
Happy weekend and welcome to the Squiz Quiz of May. This is where we take a look back at the month that was and test your knowledge of everything that happened, and a fair bit happened over the course of this month of May. We've got our regular contestant Claire Kimball back with a fresh new contestant. Sorry, I don't know why it said that. Jodie Spears. Hello, Jodie.
Hello, Andrew. You're really helping my nerves here. Thanks for the intro.
Pleasure.
And it's not that I haven't, lost quite a few in recent times of the quiz, so you'll be fine.
I might be ready to break your run of losses.
You'll be fine. You are both, of course, Weekly Wrap regular sparring partners. If you haven't checked out Jodie on the Weekly Wrap, absolutely do that. It's a fabulous show, but this is another level. This is another kettle of fish.
The pressure is on.
Altogether. Are you ready? You're both ready to go?
Absolutely.
So.
All right, let's do it. As always, each question is worth just the 1 point. We have 10 questions, but then we have a special final round which will be worth a maximum of 5 points. We call it the gauntlet, so you can score a maximum of 15. We'll start with the big news, and as always, we're looking at the news here at home. Round 1 is Australian news, and it feels like eons ago, but the month of May did contain our federal election very early on. It's ridiculous
Feels
to
like
think.
last year.
It really does, but it did just sneak into the month of May, the 3rd of May. Who won that election? No, just kidding. During his victory speech, which prop did re-elected Prime Minister Anthony Albanese whip out in front of the crowd, not for the first time, during this election campaign? And question number 2, over on the other side, Susan Lee is the new leader of the Liberal Party and David Littleproud is still the leader of the National Party. But they both got there by holding off a post-election challenge for that leadership. For half a point each, name both of their challengers. So the main challenger to the Liberal leadership and the main challenger to the Nationals leadership post-election. Claire, what prop did the Prime Minister whip out?
I wish it was Toto.
That
wish
would
he
be nice.
whipped Toto out,
Yeah.
from behind him.
Yeah.
Held it like the Lion King or something,
Yeah.
but no. It
Toto,
was a
we're not in opposition anymore. That's what he should have said the first time around. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
It was a Medicare card.
A Medicare card?
I got that one too, Medicare card.
Yes, it was the Medicare card. And I noticed that he very strategically places his thumb over any details that might be on Medicare card. I kind of think, wouldn't you just dummy up a prop one that didn't have any, don't use your actual one?
You'd reckon he would know someone who could do that.
Surely.
Yeah.
Maybe that's fraud or something. Though.
Yeah,
True.
that's right. You're probably not allowed. That's a fair point. Now, Jodie, it took a little bit of thinking time, but did you manage to come up with both of the main challenges to the Nationals and Liberals leadership?
So the Liberal challenger was Angus Taylor and the Nats challenger was Matt Canavan.
That is correct. Claire,
Yep.
did you have that as well?
I did indeed.
Yeah, Angus Taylor, it's going to be an ongoing story. Very close.
Yeah.
We don't know the Nationals tally, I think. I don't think I ever saw numbers for the Nationals Party.
They don't release those.
No, they don't.
No, they
Yeah.
never have. That's not part of their protocols.
No.
But the Libs disclose the numbers, and you're right. We did a shortcut on factions.
Yep.
The Conservative faction that Angus Taylor's from versus Susan Lee, who's moderate. So, the
4
numbers are
votes
tight.
in it,
Yeah.
weren't there?
Yeah.
I couldn't get Jacinta Price out of my head
Right,
when I was
yes.
trying to think of Angus Taylor.
There you
Yes.
So I don't know what that says about, how memorable she is versus him.
His
but-
running partner.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, sort of.
Sort of,
She
sort of,
didn't end
kinda,
up-
as it turned out.
She didn't end up putting
Not
her
so
hand
much.
up.
Yeah.
But
True.
yes, that is absolutely right. So if you had a Medicare card for the first question and Angus Taylor and Matt Canavan respectively for the second question, you have 2 points, and that's what we both have in the studio. Let's go to round 2 and we'll talk about the big news from the world at large. And speaking of elections, there was quite a big one in Vatican City where the new Pope took the papal name of Pope Leo. But what number Leo is he? So like a king, you might be King Charles III, for example. He's Pope Leo the something. What's the something? What's the Roman numerals next to his name? And speaking of King Charles, he made a trip overseas to deliver a speech that hasn't been given in person by a British monarch in nearly 50 years. Which country's parliament did he open with this speech in late May? Let's go to Jodie first for the Pope Leo question. Do you remember the number?
Pope Leo the 14th.
The 14th.
And just to be clear, I wrote down XIV.
For Roman numeral brownie points.
Correct.
I love it.
Doesn't when these events come through make you revisit your primary school Roman numerals?
Yes.
Does the one
Very
come
much
before
so.
the V for 14 or is it after the V? All
Yeah.
of that, those protocols.
The
Yeah.
X's and
It
the
gets really confusing when you get into like the hundreds and
Yes.
you're like the 90s and then
Yeah.
you're not sure what order they're happening in. It can get very, very
Yeah.
tricky. Claire, did you also have
I did.
the
14.
14th?
Yep.
Did you also write down XIV?
XIV.
Beautifully done. We know our Roman numerals in this room.
Very thorough.
That's a point each. And King Charles, Claire, what country did he visit?
Canada.
Yes.
It's a country
was
I've never
there.
heard of.
Yeah.
It was from the throne,
Yes.
which is a really interesting part of their parliament, I guess,
Yeah. It's
where it's like in Australia, I guess it's from the president's chair or from the speaker's chair, but it's the throne.
Yeah, we don't have a
Canada.
throne as such.
Yeah.
I also had Canada.
very good.
Thankfully.
Excellent. Yes. Speech from the throne, normally given by the Governor General. And it's actually written, it's quite a political speech. So it lays out the government's agenda for the term to come. So
They've
it's,
just had their election.
they've just had their election. Prime Minister Mark Carney, the new Prime Minister there, invited King Charles to come, given the situation with the US.
Andrew stumped me a couple of quizzes ago about which central bank he was the leader of. Mark
Oh.
Carney. Yeah.
I couldn't tell you.
I've carried the scar. Yeah.
I'm sure you know it now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's locked in now. Yeah, it's England. He was there.
It's England's.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I know.
Part of the Central Bank of England. So he's had a fair bit of experience and, he's got a big job on his hands, Mark Carney, but he got a little bit of support from King Charles with that speech from the throne. So we still haven't missed one. It's 4 apiece as we move into round 3. Round 3 is where it starts to get tricky because sport comes into the equation.
Oh, no, is this another sporting team name?
Maybe.
This is a disaster.
He's trapping us.
No, it's not. I've shown pity. Is that the right word? I've taken pity on you.
Charities.
This is very generous of you.
I haven't asked you for a sporting team name. I'm asking you for a sporting league name, which I don't know is
I
better.
don't know that that's any better. No.
Okay, here's our sport question. Buckle up, everyone. Aussie Ange Postecoglou became the first Australian to manage a football team to a major European title. Which European football competition did he and his club Tottenham Hotspur win? You got it. Very.
Yeah, no. I think, oh, God.
dear.
Because it prompted conversations about the league names and now, yeah, okay.
I'm mixing some of them up, but I
Yeah.
think I've got it.
It's a big achievement, no
There
matter
are
which way
many
you slice
leagues.
it. There are many leagues.
Too many,
many
you could say.
leagues.
They are all confusing.
Yeah.
Even for fans, they can get a little bit confusing. But this is one of the big ones. So we'll find out what it is in just a tick. But first, question 6. JJ was this year's Eurovision winner. What country is he from? Which country is JJ who won this year's Eurovision? If you haven't seen the performance and if you know anything about singing at all, you know how remarkable he is as a singer. He's got a soprano, he's called a countertenor, and his performance is astonishing. So definitely worth a watch. But he did win this year's Eurovision. Which country is he from? Claire, I'll come to you first, just because I have that sort of sense of humour. Which league?
I could have striked a couple through. I started with the champions, but it's not the champions because Tottenham Hotspurs aren't champions. They've had a very difficult season.
They have.
Stay with me. I think it's Europa.
Okay.
I
Jodie,
also had Europa League final.
you are both correct. It is the Europa League. Very well done.
See, we know more than we thought.
Oh.
Claire.
Very well done. We're over the hump.
Somewhat redeemed.
If you haven't been following this story, it's really remarkable. Not only because it's an astonishing achievement, really, for an Australian manager to do that, given football
Everyone-
in this country and the
everyone
history
loves
and
Ange.
how tricky it is. Yeah, except for Tottenham fans for most of the season.
Yeah.
But he claimed before the season that he always wins something in his second year, and then they had this dreadful season in the EPL where they ended up finishing in sort of the bottom quarter of the table, sort of that sort of area, and then they won the Europa League, and his prediction came true again. He always wins something in his second year, and they actually held up a banner, the players after the game, with that quote on it. It became sort of a mantra for them. We
Wow.
always win something in our second year, and it's the first trophy Tottenham's won in anything, and I think
a long time,
Yeah, a long
yeah.
time. JJ, what country is he from, Jodie?
This is a stab in the dark, but it might have been lingering in the back of my brain. Austria?
Claire,
That's what I've got too. Yeah.
you're both absolutely right. It is Austria, yeah.
Look at us go.
I didn't watch it. So you're telling me it's something to watch?
Or Eurovision is always something to watch. I
We watched The Milkshake Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the,
So
there's
that
the
was enough
Milkshake
for
Man.
me. I got my fill with Australia's entry and I moved on.
Yeah. JJ, oh, look, just from a vocal perspective, I mean, the song, your mileage may vary, but from a vocal perspective, it's incredible to watch.
Like he's a real talent.
He's a real talent. I think he won Austria's version of The Voice, or he went deep in that competition, and he performs in an operatic events and things. Like he's quite remarkable. But I did prefer the Swedish. I think it was the Swedish performance about the sauna, their ode to the sauna, which had dancing people in towels and things. That was that to me. That's Eurovision.
I do
you know what
appreciate
I mean?
the
Sounds very
quirkiness.
Swedish.
That is down my alley.
Yeah.
But yes, the milkman was enough.
Go Joe the Milkshake Man, who sadly didn't go as deep into the competition as we would have liked. Still haven't missed one. The pressure is building as we head into round 4 at 6 points apiece. Round 4 is Who Said It? I'm going to read you a quote. You need to tell me who said it.
He gets very obscure with these. So
Oh.
hold
Choose
on.
Obscure. Here we go. The difference is whether we have scrutineers to knock out informal votes that are being counted for the teals. Sadly, this is something I am extremely good at doing, but I am legally prohibited from doing this on this vote because I am a candidate. I'll read it again. The difference is whether we have scrutineers to knock out informal votes that are being counted for the teals. Sadly, this is something I am extremely good at doing, but I am legally prohibited from doing on this vote because I am a candidate.
There's a few of those counts.
Yes, there's plenty of them. There's a couple of clues in here as to who this might have been. I will just give you one clue about this. This person did not say it as such as they wrote it.
Got you.
Yeah.
Andrew.
And, you're going very well. I've got to make it harder as we go. And question number 8, our second quote of Who Said It. My heart and compassion goes out to everyone who has traversed the traumatic journey of betrayal.
Who could forget this one? Whew.
I knew you wouldn't need any clues for that one. My heart and compassion goes out to everyone who has traversed the traumatic journey of betrayal. Okay, that first quote about informal votes and scrutineers and teals, etc. Jodie, who did you
Nothing.
think?
Sorry. Got nothing on that one.
Zip.
I could have guessed, but no.
It's always worth a guess. Guesses are fun. Sometimes even
It could
more
be
fun
like
if they're
many
not.
of my guesses.
That's true. Claire?
Claire?
My thinking is the key is probably in the I'm good at lots of stuff.
Yes, that
And
is.
I know lots of politicians think they're very good at lots of stuff, but I think on this occasion it's Tim Wilson.
You're absolutely right. It is Tim Wilson. Yeah, this is Tim Wilson in the electorate of Goldstein. It was in a WhatsApp chat to his sort of team. I think it's called Blue Wave or something. And he was talking about, this was before there was an official recount that was ordered, and he was talking about how every vote counted, and he was
Battling
really good at
against Zoe
scrutineering,
Daniel.
battling against
Right.
Zoe Daniel and Goldstein, but he couldn't do it himself.
Couldn't
damn
do it
because he's
himself.
the
Must be
candidate.
frustrating.
It would be.
And
Wants
a
to get
shout
in there.
out to anyone who scrutineered in some of those close races because it's a lot of fun, but
When
it's a lot of
down to
pressure.
10
It's
votes.
A lot of pressure,
hugely exciting.
and a lot of work,
Yeah.
and a lot of people watching you.
Yeah.
Looking at some of the pictures, there's like 4 people standing over you as you count each vote. It's incredible, and I hope they didn't have any holidays booked because it's gone for a while, particularly if they're in Bradfield.
Amazing.
Very well done. Claire takes a 1-point lead. Jodie, who said, "My heart and compassion goes out to everyone who has traversed the traumatic journey of betrayal."
That would be Deborah Lee Furness
Deborah Lee Furness.
talking about her marriage with Hugh Jackman. And apparently he's very disappointed that she's decided to
Said the
speak
thing.
out.
Yes, yes.
I reckon I'm going to try and use the term travelled, what was it?
Traversed the traumatic
journey of betrayal at some point this year.
I have definitely traversed that journey. Probably most of us have at some point.
At some point, all of us have traversed the traumatic journey of betrayal. The traumatic journey of betrayal sounds like a good book.
It's
Doesn't
just
it?
so dramatic.
She's chosen her language very well.
Exactly.
Yes, it is starting to become one of those things that's playing out with sources. You know how celebrity relationships, Deborah Lee Furness attributed the statement to herself, which is quite rare.
Yeah.
Normally in these sorts of situations, it's sources said,
a friend said.
People close to someone's dog,
Yeah.
that sort of stuff.
Right.
Harry and Meghan are good at the sources.
The sources
exactly.
said, yeah.
But in this case, Deborah Lee Furness did give out that statement herself and attribute it to herself and didn't hold back. And as you said, Jodie, absolutely right. It's about her officially filing for divorce from Hugh Jackman. A sad day for all Australians. One of our golden couples. So after round 4, if you had both those answers correct, you should have a score out of 8. Claire still has not missed one. Jodie,
8.
1 point back on
1
7.
point back. All right.
Round 5 is multiple choice. So I'm going to give you 4 different answers that you can choose from in order to get the question right. We'll start with this one. A study has found the use of which punctuation mark in books has nearly halved in the last 20 years? Is it the ellipsis, the exclamation mark, the brackets, or the semicolon? So a study has found that the use of which punctuation mark in books has nearly halved in the last 20 years? Is it A, the ellipsis, B, the exclamation mark, C, the brackets, or D, the semicolon? And question number 10, our final question of the main part of the quiz. A Perth woman, doing us all proud, has won a Guinness World Record by collecting 1,035 official items of memorabilia about which animated characters? Are they A, My Little Pony, B, Smurfs, C, Minions, or D, Blinky Bill? You remember Blinky Bill?
My Little Pony, Smurfs, Minions or Blinky Bills.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know our kids host, Bryce, when we get Bryce to do a adult Squiz thing, we have to get him out of his Blinky Bill voice.
Yeah.
Because he puts it on for Squiz
For the kids.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with that great voice.
Yeah.
Just move it on, Blinky Bill.
I think I have that problem when I'm talking to my dog and then I talk to humans and I have to get out of the dog voice.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Or when your neighbours overhear you talking to the dog,
Yeah.
it's quite embarrassing.
Yeah, it's like I was rehearsing for a play.
Yeah.
It's fine. I wouldn't worry about it.
Should say Bryce is now hosting the call sheet with you, Andrew, and there's not much Blinky Bill to be found.
No.
but-
No, and it's a cracker of a series.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, definitely worth your time. Well, I say that. Bryce has done all the interviews up until this point. I'm coming up, so it may be less worth your time as it goes along.
Very modest.
Thank you. Question 9. Which punctuation mark is on the outs, Claire?
It's the semicolon. And I was cranky with you when you did it in the Squiz Today podcast because you didn't explain to people it's the one with the dot and the comma.
That's actually funny because I did and then I cut it because I thought everyone knows that. But you never assume that people don't know that. Yeah,
Remind me what an ellipsis is.
Dot.
Well, people
I use a lot of those.
Yeah.
I use a lot of those.
We at the Squiz on the Squiz Today newsletter, we're single-handedly keeping the ellipsis in business.
It's ...
we love a ... over on the
We're
Squiz Today
banned
newsletter.
exclamation
But
marks.
no exclamation
Right.
marks. Yeah.
So it almost could have been that, but no, I got semicolon as well.
Very good.
My
Nice.
kids asked me the other day what a semicolon is, which made me think.
Yeah.
Locked that in as an answer. 'cause
Andrew
they're just not
explained
used
it
as much.
very, very well, what it does.
Yeah.
It's grammatical effect.
Yeah.
It's like a
It's
longer
like-
pause than a comma.
I had
right?
to-
That's what I said to my kids.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Exactly.
Yes. And it's sort of if you're sort of breaking up two parts of a sentence. But you want a longer pause. Yeah, exactly. Yes, you
But
said.
I had to stop and think, is it the one with the dot?
It's so funny because
you
we recorded it and then I thought this is running a bit long. I'll just take out a bit.
Everyone knows that.
No. Should never assume.
Never assume.
Now we're
Never
providing
assume.
that service.
There you go.
Jodie, what animated characters is this particular Perth woman obsessed with? I don't think that's overcooking it. Obsessed with.
This was a bit of a guess
Mm-hmm.
between two, but I'm going for Smurfs.
Smurfs, Claire?
I went with Smurfs too.
Okay. It's Minions.
Oh, that's the other one I was going to go
Yeah.
for. Look, I've written it down.
yeah.
Oh, well. Smurfs is circles.
It's Minions. Claire's perfect run comes to
Yeah.
a minion, a yellow-hued end.
Stumped on a minion.
It's always,
Despicable.
it's always the really dumb questions that stump Claire.
On a minion. Radio.
But yeah, Guinness World Record. She's got like plates, she's got pillows, but they're all official. You can't have any, so to qualify for the Guinness World Record, you can't have any kind of...
Like dodgy knockoffs from the
dodgy
$2
knockoff.
shop.
Yeah,
Right.
no. They've got to be official Minion merchandise.
What does she like about them?
That is not a piece of research that I have or
She can
necessarily...
interview her on
You
the
can
next
come back
call.
to
No,
us
no,
next
I
quiz.
do know. I do know that it started when she went to see Despicable Me, and she just fell in love with the characters
Minions.
and the way they talk, and just went. She started with little figurines,
Yeah.
the little plastic figurines, and then it just grew from there.
She must have a whole room dedicated to
Yeah.
I used to
Minion Shrine.
when I was a kid. One of my friend's parents had a Batman room where he just had. Not like a bat cave.
I was going to say, there's so many questions.
Yeah. It wasn't like leather or anything. No, he had a bunch of
So many
toys.
questions.
He had a bunch of Batman toys. But you know,
Yeah.
with people like that, they don't take him out of the box.
Yeah.
They keep him in the box.
So you couldn't play with
You couldn't
them?
play with them.
That's a proper collector.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It's like-
just a tease.
I know. It's like being stuck at the
Yeah.
gates of Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, not being allowed in. You're only
Yeah.
allowed to look. You can't eat anything.
Each to their own.
Yeah. Anyway, that is the end of the main part of the round, and it's only still 1 point the difference. Claire has 9, Jody has 8, but it's where the gauntlet. That's
I
where.
forgot about the
we've
gauntlet.
got the
Okay.
gauntlet. So it could still come down to this. In fact, it will come down to this as we head into the gauntlet. In our final round, I'm going to give you 5 quotes that have all been said about the same person this month. I need you to tell me who the person is. Simple as that.
Person,
So,
radio.
but you only get one guess here in the studio. So as soon as you think you know who it is, you lock in, you put your hand up, you say Jody or Claire, and
Got
you
it.
lock in, I've got it. And then you can't keep guessing from there. So if you guess after the first quote, you get 5 points. After the second quote, you get 4 points. After the third quote, 3 points, and so on. And once you've locked in, you're locked in, and you don't get any more clues. So there is the opportunity to score 5 points, but you obviously need to be sure. Does that make sense?
Okay, so it's a bit of a gamble.
It's a bit of a gamble. Yeah, they're all about the same person. They were all said this month about this person. Okay. At home, you can play this however you like because I'm not going to police you. So you can play it like we do in the studio or you can just keep guessing. Totally up to you. Here we go. Congratulations, my friend, not just on the numbers, but on the philanthropy and the years. Having a cherry Coke with you was a highlight of my career.
Claire.
Oh,
Got it.
Okay. That's going to make it tough. Well, look, I tell you what, strategically, you can wait because if Claire's
I've
got
gone
it,
all in.
she's got
Okay.
it.
And if
I'll
I've got
do that.
none,
But if she doesn't have it, she gets no points, which means you can wait until the 2-point clue. And if you get it right by that point, you'll still win.
Okay, the cherry Coke's not ringing any bells, I'm
That's
afraid.
I've had a go.
Had a go. I love a 5-point go. It's all about the excitement. All right, number 4. His life lessons delivered to young and old are as valuable as his business acumen. I've got bad news for you, Jody. Claire's looking extremely
feeling-
confident.
Yeah,
pretty
she
good about
is.
this.
She's just
I'm just
back
gonna
in the
kick
chair.
back
She's
here.
just
Looking kind of smug.
She's got a margarita. She's just, 3-point quote. Everything that is good about American capitalism and America itself. And the 2-point quote. He is the single most influential investor.
Sorry, I forgot to say Jody.
Oh, you're in after
I
3?
think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
2 points. He is the single most influential investor of all time, the Isaac Newton of investing. And the 1-point quote, it's been one of the great privileges of my life to know him, and there's no question that he's leaving Berkshire in great hands with Greg. It's been one of the great privileges of my life to know him, and there's no question that he's leaving Berkshire in great hands with Greg. Claire, I think you only got more and more confident as that went along.
I think I got it wrong.
Who is this?
It's Warren Buffett.
It's Warren
Of
Buffett.
course.
Jody,
Yeah.
who did
No,
you go for?
I just heard the American capitalism and I
Yeah.
put down Trump. And then I thought it might be Elon. Anyway,
There's a few of those guys around American
congratulations
capitalism.
on your victory.
Well done, Claire. Very close to a perfect game, 14 points.
Yeah.
I think that's the
Close.
highest score anyone's ever got.
And like Canadia, I can't not think of Warren Buffett as Warren Buffet because in Rampart, which is Joe Aston's newsletter and business that we're working on, we did an ad for Perpetual, which is a big funds manager here in Australia. And in one of their ads, they reference Warren Buffett, except we kept getting it wrong. when we're publishing it without the second
The second T, yeah.
which of course would be Warren Buffet.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Like the Sizzler buffet.
The curse of Warren Buffet kept coming back and back a couple of times.
And his sister Phoebe. I confuse him a lot with Jimmy.
Yeah.
Jimmy Buffett, who sings Margaritaville, which is probably why the drink margarita popped into my head over the course of that. But yes, Jimmy Buffet, probably more appropriate given his songs. Very well done, Claire. Thank you so much, Jodie, for participating.
Well
we
done,
I've left
appreciate
a bit
your
of room
time.
for
Well
improvement.
done.
Bit of room
just
for
next
improvement,
time.
but you
Excellent.
did very, very well. There's nothing to sneeze at about 8 out of 10 in the first bit. And look, the gauntlet, it's claimed many people before.
Oh, that was really tough. I'm not good at the quotes, I reckon. I was good on
Quotes
both
are
the
hard.
quotes.
Quotes
Yeah.
are tricky, yeah. Quotes are tricky,
I must
but you know.
need to listen more carefully.
Thank you very much anyway. We appreciate you having a go. Well done to Claire. And thank you for playing along at home. Hope you had fun. Let us know in the comments how you did. If you beat 14, as always, let us know. hello@thesquiz.com.au. We'll be back at the end of June.